everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Tales of Arise. This is episode 55, I think. 56. Sorry.
Shion, just in the nick of time. Here, lend me a hand while I...
No!
What the... Oh, right. The thorns. My bad.
That's super weird.
I'm the one who should apologize. I overreacted.
Lost should be well aware of
Can't you even go a minute
not
without putting your foot
doing
in
the
your mouth?
thorns at this point.
Seriously,
Like,
it's
that's
fine.
super weird.
I'd rather that than people feeling like they're walking on eggshells around me. Besides, I'm the one who should be vigilant about not touching you guys, not the other way around.
This should have been
Actually,
like
I've been meaning to ask.
thing
Not being able to touch
30
people,
hours ago.
does it ever get lonely sometimes?
Rinwell, what do you even know about loneliness?
I thought about it in those terms. It was either accept it for what it was or come undone. Before long, it was just part of my everyday reality. I think I even forgot there was another way to live. Which isn't to say I didn't feel alone. I did. Always.
So numb to your reality,
gonna say,
you couldn't even recognize it as
Wasn't she
loneliness?
born like that? So
I don't know how you managed.
wouldn't she basically
That's
have
fine.
never known
I know I'm not alone
the
anymore.
comfort of
But-
touch?
I can't even touch you. No way of lending you a shoulder when you're down? Even Alphen.
I appreciate the concern. Until I get rid of these thorns, I guess I'll have to put up with it just a little longer. But not forever. Alphen promised me that. Maybe it'll be soon, maybe it won't be. But either way, the day will come. And I'll be ready when it does.
Yeah, just hang in there. One day, we'll share a big warm hug. You'll see. I promise.
Yeah. Oh my god. Skits! Skits!
Boo!
Ah! What the... Are you out of your mind? This isn't the time for games, Rinwell.
Oh, come on. How am I supposed to resist with you looking all jittery like that?
It's called experiencing feelings appropriate to the situation.
I mean, that's
Try
fair.
it sometime.
Dangle
Yeah,
boy!
but seeing you act all nervous,
Oh,
you're making me
lippin'
start
girl.
to feel nervous too.
Oh, sorry.
You scratching for?
Staying alert is important, but too much caution can cloud your judgment. Try to strike a balance.
Buddy boy. Alright. New place, who dis?
I still can't get over what we saw happening outside the starship.
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
I think it
It's me.
was
I
a
have
round
absolutely
planet
no
once
clue.
upon a time, Rinwell.
So
I don't think it
surreal.
always
looks
looked
a
like
broken egg or
that.
something.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay. That beam of light joining Dana and Rena. It was the Renan side that it first came from, right?
That's what it looked like. And then the Danon side responded.
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld? To reawaken the Wedge and Lenegis?
Okay,
Which would
maybe.
mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after? Is it really worth going through all this trouble just to steal Dana's energy?
Try to stay calm. With so many factors we don't understand,
This
dwelling on
ship's
it
gonna
won't
have
get us
like
anywhere.
rebel Renans on it, like
What is it?
from 300
No, it's
plus
just-
years ago when whatever this
Zephyr once
thing
told me the same
was
thing.
defeated
So
Rena
much for me
and took
making
over.
Progress, huh?
You made it this far, didn't you? You notice something, you change it. That's all anyone can do. But you can't stand
Or
still
maybe
in the meantime.
Danons from that same time period. It's gonna be a force that has identified this great evil and is working to defeat it. Or something. Who the fuck knows? Okay. I keep holding right button down to run because I've been playing so much Monster Hunter, but that's not run in this. It's right trigger. It's got me fucked up. Ooh, someone's in that. Who's gonna be in that? Ooh, I bet it's Naori is in here.
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that?
It looks like the same type of body that the Red Woman has,
A
but
red woman in disguise.
but it's a
Or is this their true
blue
form?
one or
So it
purple
was a
one.
trap?
No. Calm down. Y'all chill out.
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
Not Naori.
It
Never
can
mind.
talk.
Take it back.
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
Excuse me?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way.
Consent is important.
Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Is all of this shit just random bullshit
goody.
from
More
some
riddles.
other alien
Do you
race?
think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best
'Cause
chance
if
to get
so-
out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
Wow, that's way to make everyone feel like insignificant beings.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The red women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Okay.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasol, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it without question throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Volron didn't really
Becca,
seem controlled.
You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
A planet.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but
Let's assume that what Hevrect 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Plot convenience.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's Great Spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
Okay. That's fair.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy, and the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed, and it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegus was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy.
Okay.
That is why we turned to Dana.
I mean, you had already
so that was
turned to
the real
Dana.
purpose behind the crown contest.
But yeah, the crown
An
contest
efficient means
is...
to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrect 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
Of course.
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegus has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it
And
will
then
not be
just
long
flowered
before all
outwards.
is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
So, okay, Great
Why do
Spirit.
you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly?
What
Is
happens?
it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control?
What happens if
Why?
the Great Spirit devours all of the energy from
No.
Dana?
My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
What?
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, Our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean you're dying?
At this stage,
Oh, who would have
it
thought
would be wise for you to talk with the others.
that the
Ask
race
them what you
dedicated
need
to
know.
the evil being
Once you have
that's
your answer,
eating
return to
everything
me.
is...
If you agree to help,
Just-
I shall fix your
It's
ship.
that basic Tails thing,
Others? Just how many of you
I
are there?
guess. One planet dies when
I
the
am
other
the
planet
only
prospers.
Helgan crew
Except
who
this isn't a
inhabits
planet
deep
dying and a planet prospering. This is a thing devoured all of one planet and now seeks to devour all of another planet. But when that thing devours
It's no use.
the
I
second
think it's
planet,
done
what does it
talking
do
to us.
then?
Let's take a look around.
You know? Like, it's destruction for the sake of destruction. It's so strange.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told
Great
us,
spirits
right?
gotta eat.
I mean, it's
Also,
practically
why
blackmailing us into doing its
why
dirty
is
work.
all of the energy on Rena
be honest,
condensed into
the
the Great
conversation
Spirit, but
went
all
on
the
for so
energy
long,
on
I'm
Dana
not
is
sure I understood all
dispersed
of
so
it.
that it can't?
How about
Like,
you,
what
Darling?
caused
Were you able to follow
Rena's
it at all?
energy
At the
to
very
condense?
least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much
That was
more
all the will
difficult
of that
to
spirit.
believe.
But that's the thing, like,
The spirit
they
of Rena wants to
specifically
see
said
Dana
that the
completely
will
destroyed.
could only happen
Why?
because it was so
Astral
condensed.
energy is
So you
supposed to
couldn't
be a
have
force
done
that
the
creates and
former
shapes the world.
before the
doesn't
latter.
matter.
Right? Like,
don't
it
care
couldn't
if
be
we're
the
up
will
against an
of the
entire
spirit
world or
to
what its
condense
game is.
if you have to
We're
be
not going
condensed
to let
to
it
have a
destroy
will.
Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans?
Yeah, what
How
about
do
the
they
Renans?
factor into all this?
Oh.
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevric 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out.
Okay. So the concept is that the natural state is condensed, and Rena did not uncondense, whereas Dana did. Okay, that's a more acceptable, more plausible concept for me. I could see that. Also, in before Renans are actually just Danans. And have been the whole fucking time. Oh, okay. We're figuring stuff out. We're getting answers. I don't know that I'm happy with the answers that we're getting, but we're getting answers. You know? And if that were true, I don't know. If that were true, IDK. Would that make me big mad or glad? That particular fact would make I would be ambivalent, honestly. I've had that thought a couple of times, right? Where they keep on being like, "Oh, they're so different," but the races have never really been that different. The only thing that they've ever really said was a difference was the shining
Really?
eyes or whatever.
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
I guess so.
The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know.
The only major
we'll tell
difference
you
is
as much as we
affinity
can.
for astral arts.
But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
Excepting we've seen a clear by
What a
going to
weird
Rena,
guy.
we've seen clearly that some
He
people
must
are
have meant Hevric
again, there's a
35 when he
hierarchy.
mentioned that
There are people who
overseer.
have astral arts, and then there are
And what
people
was
who
that
don't,
about
and then there are people in
subjects?
between.
You don't think he
And that's
meant Dana and Rena, do
Kind
you?
of the same as on Dana. Just maybe
There isn't
more
anyone else
rare.
we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Anyways.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about
That sounds like
Helghan.
Taliesin.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters,
A
where'd they
young
come from?
Taliesin.
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
No, that's why we're asking
Apparently
questions.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
Yeah, okay. So we guessed that. Gotcha.
If that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't.
It's
But
it's
there are
Taliesin.
Helganquil.
Nice.
That's what the name literally means in their language. People
Very nice.
of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there.
They just took all the
That's
Danans
why
who
we,
had
as
astral arts.
their
I was gonna
descendants,
say.
can all cast
Oh,
arts,
fuck.
albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astro arts on Dana now.
Yeah, they just
Helganquil
took it out of your
technology is truly
genetics.
amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and...
Enough. You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how when
His
viewed in
entire
certain
life
ways, their
and
ways
his
may sound grotesque.
the hundreds of
But
years
if
of
you ask
existence is
me,
just on
I
the
think
spaceship.
they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance.
Okay.
If it
Well,
meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it.
thank you for
Anyway,
telling me all of the
Helganquil
secrets of the
are the
game,
real
Taliesin. I
Renans.
appreciate it.
Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm not a big fan
Does he
of
really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed?
of
How
the.
absurd.
This feels more like tell
Just when I
rather
think
than
we're
show.
getting to the bottom of it all,
I'm not
some new
a big
revelation
fan of
smacks us in the
of
face.
tell over show.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
This feels like a lore dump where I would have rather have obtained more of this information in other situations, like story beat situations. But instead it feels like the game has reached a point to where it's like, okay, well, we got to give them all the information, so let's just have a couple of conversations with NPCs that'll explain everything. Yeah.
Have you guys lived up here in Dig Phasal with Hevrek 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Okay.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegus from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in
This
its
thing is
current
like
location
as
due to an
big
accident.
as Lenegus.
Oh, it was
Like
terrible.
a second Lenegus.
Apparently, there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrek 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously.
Why we all
Do they
failed to
employ an
notice the Red
astral
Women
art of some
previously.
sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegus is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
Because they're Danans. They're a completely different race.
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
Except the Helganquil have, like, the Red Woman has the ability to literally just, like, mind pop people and control them.
I mean,
so,
sure, I was surprised
the
when I first found out
Helganquil
about
can,
it,
but
it
the
happened
Great
so
Spirit
long
can't?
ago.
Hevrek 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegus? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon.
We
You
already
could ride
know
with
that
us.
Rena isn't an actual planet.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright.
After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead.
Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further.
That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
That said,
Thank you for
and
answering
though
my
serve
question.
the same purpose. You don't need both of them on a single sentence. Sorry, that's overly nitpicky, but it's an annoying grammar thing. Like, that said, and though, yeah. Anyways, no
Do
reason
you
to
know
hammer it.
anything about
Move
a
on.
spirit channeling plan?
Yeah, tell me more.
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegus to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second,
This
we
is
had
where the
to
last
figure out
side
how
quests
to
in the game are, by the way.
convert Dana's
Good to know.
energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner. However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became
I
frenzied.
don't understand what this whole sovereign and
reason
maiden
for that
thing
is because the
seems
Maiden
so
lost
artificially
control.
created,
I'm told
just
he
for the purpose of
slaughtered
having
many Renans
Alphen and
Helganquil that day.
Shion. Like, I don't
For the next
understand.
plan, we tried
There,
to recreate
no one
the
has explained
Renaissance,
why
but we
the
didn't
sovereign
have
and
nearly
maiden
enough of
need
the
to
other
exist. It's just
non-dark
to control
astral
the energy.
types.
How?
To amend that, we set our sights on Dana and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
Yeah, the
And
crown
the crown
contest.
contests began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps.
Except she wasn't the
A new
failing
sovereign had to be
point.
made as well.
The
was such
sovereign was the failing
tremendously
point because the
difficult work, its
sovereign was
success
the one
was
that
dubious.
got overwhelmed.
But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm interested.
Hevrek 35
He got
mentioned
overwhelmed
that the
because
spirit
the maiden
channeling plan
failed?
is entering its final stage.
I guess that's fair.
Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes. And yet here we are. Are we done talking now? if it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
You're just standing right next to him. He can hear you.
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down.
Okay.
Is there anything we know that's still true at this
We
point?
got some answers.
Seriously,
I'm still
trying to process the fact that we
unsure
Renans
of
were
a couple
created by the
things,
Helghan
but
Quill, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
it feels like the game's almost posing that question to the player, be like, "Hey, I finally gave you answers. Are you good? Are you happy now?"
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy,
all because of
the Great
magic.
Spirit took control of the Helghan Quill. Then the Helghan Quill created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
What does the Great
Plus,
Spirit
the reason the
gain
Great
out of
Spirit can't
consuming
directly
all
control the
of
Renans as
the
well
astral
is
energy?
likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over before we decide
It doesn't want to die?
That's a good
okay,
idea,
that's a
Kisara.
no. That's a
If the
bullshit
Renan
response.
Great Spirit really
Dana's
is behind all
astral
this,
energy isn't
and we've
dying.
got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger.
Also, they
so we
haven't
should
said
be okay.
anything about the concept that
Sure you don't wanna be
Rena's
alone right now?
astral energy needs
I
to
can ask you
feed,
the
or else
same
it will
question.
die.
I
That's a
figured I'd get all
big
our thinking
assumption.
done while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds, too.
Ah. They
Sounds good.
stay together.
Let's go find them.
What are you doing, Odie Bodie? Your
Everyone's
party has
just gone their
disbanded.
own way, huh?
Alright, in a momento, I need to run and use a bathroom real quick. You not seen the state of Rena? It's a husk? Yeah, it caused that. Alright, sorry about that. Had to pee and get some medicine. Alright.
Yeah. Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the Red Women, no, that the Helghan Quill made up.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevrek 35 has told us, that is.
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helghan Quill could be behind the fruits of Helgen too.
Been a long
But
time
if
since
Hevrek
we've heard
35
anything
was
about the
telling
fruits of
truth,
Helgen.
And this was all just one massive lie. Does that mean everything we've done up until now has been pointless?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our foothold for now. That's all.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another. All of us together. And if we can't find one, then we'll make a new one. End of story.
That sounds like a
Make one,
plan,
huh?
Shion.
I see. Right then. Count me in.
One, two, three. Full healed, so no need for resties. Oh, we can leave and go to the upper level as well. Interesting. Nice! Space deck. Are you kidding me? You kidding me? You... Oh. Okay. It's right there. It's just way farther away than I thought it was. I thought it was gonna be like... that big. Not... Well then. Sadness Hero. It's kind of cool, though. I feel like they should have made it bigger. I get we're supposed to be, like, super far away in space, but... Give me a space deck. I want to see something, like, badass. You wonder how far away that is? Yeah, you know, it's really questionable, like, how far away is Linegus from Dana? How far away is Rena from Dana? Because, like, planets being in orbit have to be... I'm sure there are logical, rational, mathematical, scientifical...
Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
250,000 miles? Yeah, it has to be, like, some crazy amount.
You mean Doherty, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all. But he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans and the Great Spirit and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hell-bent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So, to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is, well... I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible.
Yeah, sure.
At the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware
right?
of this, but the
like,
list of
how the
grievances the
fuck
Danans
do
have
you
against the Renans is
explain this
long,
to the Danans?
and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain, in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning, but I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
Yeah. That's valid. Random.
You both seem awfully calm.
Fishing!
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Dan and mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dana anymore, right?
No, absolutely not. As
I know it's not
Renans
as
and
simple as all
Danans
that,
intermingle, that'll just be a
Danans
natural
probably
part.
won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
Yep.
It
Be a
wouldn't
problem.
surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Very true.
Yeah. I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danan and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell.
Nice, Rinwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Right? That's a good question,
Now you
Rinwell.
mention it.
Why is
Dr.
Rena's will a
and the other
dick?
scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dana's still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
I'm gonna do law first.
I still can't believe it, man.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
I mean,
Did
this
you
shit's
forget what
crazy,
happened
Law. What are you
back
talking
in the
about?
scene? Once my memories started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Rude.
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live. And I've
Oof.
tried to stay
Big
strong,
oof.
my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Look, we have to
I
figure
used
out how to
worry all the
smash
time about my thorns,
and
for
boom,
obvious
done.
reasons. But I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it.
And hot fries
You
are
guys
fucking
were all
addicting.
there for me to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
In other words, If you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important, what I really care about, all I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
I mean, okay.
I apologize for making you witness that.
What's
You
up,
mean
Doe?
hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one.
Yes.
I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shion. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dana, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting
Yeah,
aside
but they'll be
the untold
manageable
state that Rena
problems.
may be in. If we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia
Yeah, pretty
to be
much.
so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed, I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility.
I can just
In
imagine.
that regard, I remain determined. On that
I
have
can just
something of a
imagine
favor to ask of you,
Dohalim's
Alphen.
in the future years
what
when
is it?
Dohalim is trying to
I wish
make
for you
everything
to serve as
better,
a
and he
mediator
has to deal
so
with
that
all
the
the
Renans can live on Dana
races.
peaceably. As
Fuck.
the one and only blazing sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes, I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you.
Ah.
However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed. That is why.
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
which is good.
Is it too much?
No, it's
No,
just right.
Relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
And we're both fighting
You're
for the
too kind.
same side. Well,
I can see you were
semi
raised
sorta.
well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
No.
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Nah, shit. He said yes.
Thank you, my friend.
I take it back. Take it all back now.
Well,
Okay, see, everyone's
it
fine.
sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to create a better future for everyone.
Right?
What about you, Shion? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die.
I still don't
Not
understand
if or
how
when,
Shion
but how.
exists.
I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in
Or
its
what the
steely
thorns
grip. I would have never imagined that I'd
actually
be traveling
are.
with someone like you,
It's-
fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction.
Mhm.
When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that.
Sure.
It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it before it was too late. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Danon, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Excepting in a situation
Yeah.
like this,
I don't just mean
it's
forgiving
just the
things that
Danans
happened in the past
forgiving
either.
the Renans. What are the
Conflicts will
Renans
keep
forgiving the
happening.
Danans for?
If we have
right?
any hope of moving on,
That's
and
the
building a
problem
better
with
future,
forgiveness,
we
is
have
it's
to all
normally
learn
a
to forgive each
one-sided
other.
activity.
You know, you're right. People
It's
can hurt one another
victims
without even
being
meaning
responsible for
to. I know that
forgiving
better than most, thanks to
the
these
people
thorns.
that have hurt them.
It's not going
Which
to
is
be
a
easy
fucked up
getting
thing.
past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dana's still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
Even if it's just spirit.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Save the day!
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it.
That's a tall
That
order.
alone is enough to make it our enemy.
It's not taking all of existence, it's taking all of
But
existence
it's
as
not
you
only
know
that.
it.
One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
Yeah, like
while the main body resides in Rena.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a focal point.
Shion.
Alright, everybody, let's kill Shion!
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
Okay. Lofty idea. Can we get,
the question is, how do we
done with this
confront
cutscene? I need to end this video.
Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorns connection thanks to Naori.
Well, I don't know.
Hevric 35 has been observing the great astral spirit this whole time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. Oh no, you can pause with select. But I don't want to pause. I don't want to cut a video mid
Let's go see what that is.
Mid scene, you know? Hey.
Our minds are made up. Let's go give Hevric 35 our answer.
And that's going to be the end of this video. If you're watching on Twitch, stick around. We're going to keep playing. If you're watching on YouTube, hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time for Tales of Arise. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.